GNBA approves new broadcast entities. 13th annual Rupununi Expo held. A new strategic plan launched to combat non-communicable diseases. You're watching Weekly Digest, a government information agency program that keeps you updated on what the government has been doing. With the details, I'm your host, Vindhya Tumeshwar. The board of the Guyana National Broadcasting Authority has sent letters of approval for broadcast licenses to applicants, while a monitoring committee has been put in place to ensure that regulations are followed.
The board of the Guyana National Broadcast Authority has issued licenses to entities which have complied with the regulations contained in the Broadcast Act.
We have so far distributed licenses to Television Guyana, GWTV2, Pinnacle, Channel 8, that's SPO, MTV, CNS, DTV, Channel 8, that's Dave Television, Bobby's, Blackman and Sons, and Little Rock TV.
Meanwhile, letters of approval to broadcast were granted to entities that have not yet received licenses. They were given to Movie Star Inc., Star TV, WRHM, 2 licenses, 21st Century Communications, Rambaran Broadcasting Service, HGP TV, NTN TV and Radio, New Guyana Company, A&G Radio, Wireless Connection, Linden Wireless Network, Pinnacle Communications Radio, Elamco and NTN TV. Meanwhile, the monitoring committee of the GNBA has been announced, and it is headed by Major General retired Norman McLean.
We have Dr. Paloma Mohammed from University of Guyana. We have Dr. Sita Shah Roth from the Learning Channel. We have Mr. Fazil Aziz, once a broadcaster himself, now an attorney at law, and Mr. Sesgan Raj, a young lawyer, because lots of what this monitoring has to do with law and broadcasting and, that kind of stuff.
The committee will be responsible for formulating regulations, while the staff of the Advisory Committee on Broadcasting, which has been disbanded, is now working on the monitoring committee executing physical monitoring and is being paid by the GNBA.
The Ministry of Local Government is trying its best to ensure that all Guyanese benefit from better solid waste management. It is in this light that the ministry has hosted a series of workshops on the issue.
The Ministry of Local Government, in collaboration with Guy Enterprise, will be launching a public awareness exercise on solid waste management.
Composting is also another initiative that could happen at this level, where citizens can, for agricultural purposes, even if you got your little old garden behind your house, compost. You don't need, this is a natural method of recycling organics. So again, with all these some of these initiatives, and this is not an exhaustive list, it's a list that we can build on, or people in this room can build on. Composting is one viable option for such. Can we go to the next slide? Collection, at the collection, so after we've talked about reducing your waste and how do you store it, then the garbage collection aspect starts, or kicks in. I think what is important, we need to have timed collections. I know now we have them. I know Ms. Green mentioned it's done once a week. In my area, it's done once a week. We need appropriate collection equipment. Trucks, sometimes there are narrow streets in some areas. Those trucks can't fit in there. What happens sometimes, those guys are saying, well, I'm not going down in the back in there because the truck can't go. So we need to look at carts and alternative mechanisms in which we can reach those far-flung or those difficult areas to access. We also need to look at this, which is already happening. And again, this entire project is nothing new, nothing revolutionary I'll be talking about here this morning. We just need to build on the existing and put it in a comprehensive framework.
Saw participation from various stakeholders, government officials, media personnel, and other interested individuals. These persons were able to raise their concerns and share their views on the subject.
On the manufacturing side, I mentioned that our recycling plant was commissioned in 2002. Our recycling plant has the capacity, well, right now we recycle approximately 4,000 metric tons of cardboard waste annually. What you may not know is of this 4,000 metric tons of cardboard waste, we import a third to 3/4 from Trinidad and Suriname. So we're actually paying persons in Trinidad and Suriname to pick up cardboard waste. Of course, it's much easier there because because they have the regulations in place which enable them to do it, and then put them in a 40-foot container, which we have to pay about $1,500 freight on, and then transport the waste to Guyana so that we can recycle it. The trade stats that we are in possession of indicates that we have more than sufficient availability of cardboard through trade available on the local market for us to swing this ratio in the opposite direction. That is, we should be able to get 3/4 of our needs locally and have to import 1/4 from other countries.
The Solid Waste Management Bill will be presented in Parliament in the near future.
CXC regional top performers for 2013 visited several tourism hotspots in Guyana during the official visit to the country.
The Visiting Caribbean Examinations Council regional top performers and their Guyanese counterparts were thrilled by the experience of visiting the majestic Kaieteur Falls as well as several other scenic locations in Guyana.
It's really nice. It's like something you'd never really expect because Guyana is not a place you'd think to visit, but it's really a beautiful country and I'm enjoying it.
It's gorgeous. It's definitely a sight to behold.
It's really awesome. I like it here, especially the fall right behind me.
Good. So how are you enjoying your stay here?
Great, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. It's a pleasure to be here.
11 of the region's brightest students and the 5 from Guyana who topped the Caribbean were hosted at the Pegasus Hotel as part of the activities for CXC's governance meetings and awards ceremony held from December 2 to 6. The students were accompanied by CXC officials and personnel from the Ministry of Education.
The 13th annual Rupununi Expo held on November 30 brought the spotlight on the Region 9 district and its products.
Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai, speaking at the opening of the exposition, recognized the role of the Rupununi Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the banks in the development of the district.
Sometimes when you feel you're tucked away in Region 9, that there is nothing happening, but it is you who are here in Region 9 that will have to take up that mantle of leadership to really move what is happening here to greater levels. And therefore, from the very start also, I want to recognize that contribution which RCCI has been making with respect to promoting the Rupununi in general and also ensuring that the potential of commerce is put and still is on the front burner.
The Rupununi Chambers of Commerce and Industry organizes the annual venture that promotes the Rupununi as a tourism destination. In its 13th year, the exposition has been providing a platform whereby locals and visitors can witness the creativity of the region through the showcasing of culture, craft, and food.
More and more, the items that are being exhibited here in the expo are generally the primary ones are generally from the Amerindian villages, and that is why an event like this is also very critical, because it provides that platform whereby all the small producers can look forward at one event to participate. And I commit here, the same way we have supported RCCI, I commit that probably over the next period, we will be working closely with the Amerindian villages to make a much more meaningful input into this expo.
Minister Sukai handed over a check to the tune of $500,000 from the ministry in support of the event. An annual Rupununi pageant and jump-up were also featured during the two-day activities, as was the first ever business forum.
Several health and educational facilities were commissioned in Region 5 in a continuous effort to ensure that citizens are provided with the necessary social infrastructure.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Gango Prasad recently visited Region 5, where he commissioned several health and education facilities in Fort Wellington, Bushlot, Maikoni, Belladrum, and Mortis, some of which were capital works programs under the 2013 budget, while others were rolled over from 2012. The Diabetic Foot Center, which was constructed at a cost of $7.4 million in Fort Wellington Hospital Complex compound, was officially commissioned and is expected to provide specialized care for diabetic patients.
Diabetic foot care was being offered in this region. What was offered through the admin complex It hadn't a home of its own. And because of that shared space and what have you, it was a serious challenge to the care delivers as well as the recipient of the care. This building in itself and the facilities therein will help us, and I notice we have the doctor here who will be responsible for the management of this center, right by the regional health officer standing. And so we will now be able to offer the same kind of care, but in an environment that is far more conducive, less challenges for the healthcare providers as well as the healthcare recipient.
There was also an extension at the Fort Wellington Rehabilitation Center, which was constructed at a cost of $5.8 million, a waiting area built at a cost of $2.7 million, and a water filtration building for which $4.5 million was invested. About $4.9 million was invested on the completion of the health center at Bush Lot, which will see the complex being able to facilitate oral health, chronic illnesses, and family health services. An 8-bed extension at the maternity ward at the Maikoni Hospital, and a drug storage barn built to the tune of $6 million and $4.4 million respectively.
It is a continued step in the regional developmental program to enhance the delivery of healthcare in this region. I wish to commend all the stakeholders who would have had a role to play with regards to having this idea conceptualized, implemented, and successfully materializing.
Meanwhile, a teacher's quarter at Mortis, which was constructed at a cost of $4.4 million, located opposite the Mortis Primary and Nursery School, will accommodate the headmistress of the primary school. Meanwhile, Bellajohn Primary School saw the construction of a tarmac at the school.
There's more to come. Stay tuned.
Ghana needs the Amalia Falls hydropower project because all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. Consumers will save approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. Ghana will save $90 million on fuel importation, and investors' confidence in Guyana will increase. More jobs will be available. All Guyanese need to come on board now. Reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20%.
Guyana needs a new modern international airport which will increase air travel and will directly lead to an increase in economic activity for many sectors and individuals. This will firmly place Guyana on the road to modern advancement, which is necessary for the economic transformation of the country. The new infrastructure will accommodate the widest variety of aircraft type, and the expanded CJIA will also allow Guyana to be the South American hub for international travel into Europe. But the political opposition, however, does not feel it is necessary for the economic transformation of the country. They severed financial allocations to this transformational project in an attempt to strangle development. All Guyanese need to be on board with this major transformational project. About 190,000 students have benefited from government's school uniform program in 2013. Guyana is the only CARICOM country that is providing this form of assistance for its students to ensure all can access education. This initiative caters for students from nursery level to grade 11.
The government of Guyana, through the Amerindian Affairs Ministry, has launched a comprehensive youth apprenticeship and entrepreneurial program. This initiative addresses youth development and empowerment and is designed to meet the objective of securing indigenous livelihood by developing the capacity and capability of youths. The program is being implemented in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9, benefiting close to 1,000 people between the ages of 18 to 40 years. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Pan-American Health Organization, World Health Organization, launched the Guyana Strategic Plan 2013-2020 to tackle chronic non-communicable diseases and their risk factors.
Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and chronic respiratory diseases, all common non-communicable diseases, NCDs, are responsible for the deaths of about 36 million people every year due to poor diet, lack of exercise, smoking, and excessive alcohol intake. The plan's guidelines and the policies which will be implemented will see a reduction of these diseases and other related risk factors locally.
How to do this? And this is my duty as a leading policymaker, to move even one step beyond this strategy. What should we be already thinking about? The strategy is good, we will be implementing it vigorously, I'm certain. But what else should we be doing? What are the elements we could be introducing that might be innovative?
Whilst the strategy is commendable, the ministry will be looking at other programs to ensure that persons do lead an active lifestyle. The workplace plays an important role in the daily lives of most persons, and it is being urged that employers make available the necessary space for physical activities for their employees.
To make this sustainable, we have to have health in all policies. And as the document says, we must have a whole of government, whole of society effort. And as the CARICOM leaders, CARICOM heads, who put this fight against NCDs, non-communicable diseases, prominently on the world stage a few years back, as they prompted us, they're encouraging us to make sure that we provide conditions which will allow our citizens to make the right choice, the easy choice. That is, how to be healthy.
In September of 2007, at the CARICOM Summit on NCDs, the Declaration of Port of Spain was pronounced under the theme, Uniting to Stop the Epidemic of Chronic Non-Communicable Diseases. This declaration provided a framework for policies and programs across government ministries, the private sector, civil society, the media, NGOs, academia, and the general community. Since then, the Government of Guyana, through the Health Ministry, has held numerous public and inter-ministry consultations to establish a strategic plan.
The Ministry of Works undertook a major exercise to lessen drainage problems in Georgetown, especially in Lodge, Charlestown, Wortmanville, Alboystown, and Queenstown areas.
The cleanup entailed clearing blocked drains and removal of vegetation and garbage from heavily blocked drainage canals.
As you're aware, it's an additional effort because we have so much of vegetation and garbage all over the city. This work is in addition to that which the Ministry of Local Government is doing, and in addition to that which the normal public works crews do along the declared public roads in the city.
This move comes in wake of the heavy downpour on November 27th that caused flooding in parts of the city and in regions 2 and 3, and in the light of the city council's inability to deal with the situation. The rainfall, which was recorded at the Botanical Gardens, measured 128.9 millimeters, or 5.1 inches, the highest in the city since 1892.
The Guyana $160 million Hinterland Water Program has been progressing with more than 50% of the projects completed for the year.
Projects at Matthews Ridge and Port Kaituma in Region 1, Akwini, Region 2, Kuma, Ruputi, and Baitoon in Region 9 are completed. These works include rehabilitation of gravity feed systems, distribution systems, and storage tanks, installations of PVC systems, the construction of trestles, distribution networks, and the drilling of boreholes. Other works going on and in the process of completion are in Aituni, Mabaruma, Rockstone, Paruma, Barabina, Waina, Cockrit Hill, and Bamboo Creek. Photovoltaic pumps are also being installed in all the administrative regions. This program will continue with collaboration from agencies such as the Red Cross, Basic Needs Trust Fund, and UNICEF. These agencies have committed to support the GWI in the provision of potable water supplies to communities in the hinterland and have subscribed to the Hinterland Water Strategy.
There's more to come. Stay tuned.
About 190,000 students have benefited from government's school uniform program in 2013. Guyana is the only CARICOM country that is providing this form of assistance for its students to ensure all can access education. This initiative caters for students from nursery level to grade 11. Guyana needs a new modern international airport which will increase air travel and will directly lead to an increase in economic activity for many sectors and individuals. This will firmly place Guyana on the road to modern advancement, which is necessary for the economic transformation of the country. The new infrastructure will accommodate the widest variety of aircraft type, and the expanded CJIA will also allow Guyana to be the South American hub for international travel into Europe. But the political opposition, however, does not feel it is necessary for the economic transformation of the country. They severed financial allocations to this transformational project in an attempt to strangle development. All Guyanese need to be on board with this major transformational project.
The government of Guyana, through the Amerindian Affairs Ministry, has launched a comprehensive youth apprenticeship and entrepreneurial program. This initiative addresses youth development and empowerment and is designed to meet the objective of securing indigenous livelihood by developing the capacity and capability of youths. The program is being implemented in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9, benefiting close to 1,000 people between the ages of 18 to 40 years.
Millions of taxpayers' dollars have already been spent on the Amalia Falls hydropower project, which is now in its final stages of achieving financial closure. However, the APNU and AFC teamed up in Parliament to kill the project without any valid reason, and in so doing taking cheap electricity out of the reach of Guyanese. Frustrating a project of this magnitude at this stage is tantamount to strangling the country's development and putting at stake the future of every man, woman and child.
During Cabinet's meeting on December 3rd, several issues of national concern were discussed, and these were subsequently brought to the media's attention. Cabinet at its December 3 sitting gave the green light to 8 contracts in the areas of electricity, infrastructure, agriculture, and health. Government has signaled its intention to retable several pieces of legislation in the National Assembly that did not initially find favor with the parliamentary opposition. The next sitting is scheduled for December 12th.
The Anti-Money Laundering Amendment Bill. The Anti-Money Laundering Amendment Bill. After the November 21st disclosure pronouncement by the plenary at CFATF, this course of action, as I said at the previous press briefing, was essentially the only one open to us in Guyana.
The other pieces of legislation include the Firearms Amendment Bill and the Evidence Amendment Bill, both of which will be retabled by Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal. The government is holding strongly to the view that mere approvals and resolutions of the Parliament are not automatically binding on the executive.
The opposition has been claiming, and a matter of fact is claiming, continues to claim, that those decisions arrived at by the House are binding on the executive. Are binding on the executive. The executive is adamant. Parliament cannot govern, particularly by way of House motions and resolutions. Bills that have secured parliamentary approval must have the President's assent to become law.
The Local Government Amendment Bill, from which President Donald Ramotar has withheld his assent, was amended by the opposition to replace the minister with the Local Government Commission.
What they failed to recognize, though, is that the Local Government Commission was a creature of the Constitution, whose provisions expressly outlined the powers that the Local Government Commission had.
Carol Suba has been confirmed as town clerk of the city of Georgetown after acting in the said position for a period of 17 months. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's program, but before we go, here's a recap of the highlights. GNBA approves new broadcast authorities, 13th annual Rupununi Expo held, and new strategic plan launched to combat non-communicable diseases. Remember that Weekly Digest and other government information can be found on our website www.gina.gov.gy, or you can send us your comments and suggestions at gina@gina.gov.gy. Thank you for watching, and do join us again next week for another program. Until then, be safe and have a great rest of the week. Goodbye.